Members, I just want to add a few comments as well before we get into talking about amendments. And first I want to say I sat in on the Judiciary Committee for this bill, and the good senator from Denver made this comment about our goal. Our goal, and I think we can all agree, is saving lives. That's the goal. And I thought that was excellent. I agreed 100%. That is what our goal needs to be, is saving lives. So I just want to go back a little bit, and it's comparable to what the senator from Greeley stated about where the discussion really needs to go. I want to kind of reframe the discussion for the remainder of this. I want to go back to where I began 10 weeks ago, when I got up to the microphone and came to the well and spoke about the comments from the Denver police chief, where he called us out. He said that legislators bear responsibility and that we are complicit in the process, and we made it difficult to hold killers responsible. The discussion did not start about the portion about a war on drugs, about putting drug users in jail. That was not the discussion. It was about how do we give law enforcement the tools they need to hold killers responsible and get drug dealers off the streets. That's what his comments were about. In fact, the sheriffs, other police chiefs, the district attorneys were asking then, and are still asking, for increased and harsher criminal penalties and to stop giving a free pass to drug dealers. The Attorney General, the governor, in a State of the State address, called on lawmakers to take immediate action to tackle the fentanyl issue as overdose deaths continue to soar. What happened in 2019 with the passage of 1263, it changed it for enforcement. It changed enforcement from drug felonies to misdemeanors, and it impacted law enforcement's ability to put drug dealers in jail. This bill in its current form, as already spoken about, 80 to 85% of the bill deals with harm reduction. $33 million for treatment. I've not heard anyone say that they're opposed to that. It's $33 million that we didn't have 10 weeks ago to deal with treatment, to deal with reduction, harm reduction, to help break up the networks, to give law enforcement some funds to help them break up the networks. Law enforcement, when they were testifying, said time and time again, enforcement and treatment are complementary. The district attorneys, when they all spoke, they talked about how they're not putting people in jail. They're not putting the drug users in jail. In fact, they wanted to say 95 to 99% of the time, but they weren't exactly sure. But they said at least 1 out of every 10, so 9 out of 10, when they get a drug user, they're not sending them to jail. That is not the purpose. That's not where we're trying to get to. That's not what we need to clean up and fix. They're not trying to send people to jail. And I can tell you, in the counties, there are several committees and groups that come together between the judges, the district attorneys, the sheriffs, other law enforcement members, behavioral health providers, and even, yes, the Board of County Commissioners would have members on these committees so that we could talk about diversion and how we were going to pay for it. So we could talk about, the district attorney talked about deferred sentencing and how to make sure that worked with what the judge was thinking needed to be taken in place. And treatment. We had everybody at the table. So the goal has never been, let's put drug users in jail. That's not the goal. When I came to the microphone 10 weeks ago, it was about how do we change this to give the tools that's necessary for our law enforcement folks to get the low-level, the medium-level drug dealers off the streets. That's how we're going to save lives. And the way the law is presented right now, And even still in this current legislation, we are not, law enforcement officials are telling us, they are not able to get the drug dealers off the streets. That's the goal. That's how we save lives. We had Sheriff Brown from Arapahoe County who spoke in committee, saying that any possession needs to be a felony so that they can, one, leverage people to get help, the drug users, but then also get the information they need to go after the drug dealers. The deputy chief from Commerce City speaking on behalf of police chiefs. The deputy chief from Westminster speaking on behalf of police chiefs. Both basically said, no safe amount. There is no safe amount to possess. And if we leave this bill as is, it'll be impossible for officers to enforce. And that they came to the committee and they have said time and time again and pleaded with us, they need help to keep communities safe. This bill is just working around the edges. It's not addressing the problem that law enforcement brought to us, that Denver police chief said to us, we're complicit in keeping killers on the street. We're responsible too. You know, this morning we had an article put on our desks out of the Denver Post about doctors know harsher criminal penalties won't decrease drug abuse. That's the headline. And as you read through this article, it talks about politicians, law enforcement, and the media alike have done their part to emphasize all the ways that fentanyl is uniquely dangerous, often implying that it must be responded to with draconian measures. No, that's not what everyone's been asking for. That is not what law enforcement, that is not what the district attorneys asked for. They're not asking for draconian measures. They're asking for help. They're asking us to get to a point where they can get to the drug dealers. This doctor goes on to comment that we can't tackle the decades-long opioid crisis and this latest iteration, the fentanyl crisis, without prioritizing funding for evidence-based practices such as harm reduction and treatment. And if we aim to elevate a public health crisis, we must always start and end with public health solutions backed by scientific research. We agree. We're not disagreeing with this doctor. That's why 80 to 85% is about harm reduction, and it's about treatment, and it's about $33 million. Nobody's disagreeing with that. But we know from our law enforcement officials, and from the district attorney, and from the attorney general, they don't have the tools they need in this bill to get the drug dealers off the street. We have got to be able to allow them, give them the tools they need to get drug dealers off the street. There's comments, and it's kind of been alluded to this morning, that, you know, incarceration and felonizing people who use drugs is not the answer. That apparently we're sending everyone to jail. No, we're not. That's not happening. That's not true. That's not accurate. That's not happening. That's not what law enforcement officials are saying. That is not what the district attorneys are saying. They will tell you. And they said it time and time again. We are not putting drug users in jail. It's not our goal. The goal is to get to the drug dealers. That's where we still need help. The district attorney from El Paso County, his comments were in committee were that fentanyl is too deadly to classify any other way than any possession should be a felony. He talked about what they do in El Paso County, what he does as a district attorney in that judicial district. The standard offer is really to get them to a deferred sentence or diversion. It's to get them to complete treatment. That's how they work with drug users. The district attorney from the Arapahoe Judicial District, I don't know what number that is. 18th. Thank you, 18th, thank you. Basically made the comment that we simply cannot go go on treating fentanyl, this deadly poison, the same as, frankly, a shoplifting ticket. District Attorney from the 17th. Because the drug is so lethal, we must use every tool at our disposal to get it off the streets. That's what they're asking from us. That's what these next amendments that are coming forward, that's the discussion we need to be having, is how do we work to get the drug dealers off the street? We have addressed the first issue, harm reduction and treatment. We've addressed that. Haven't heard anyone disagree with it. Now let's take care of the other 15 to 20% of this bill, and let's get law enforcement the tools that they need to get to the drug dealers, to get to our goal of saving lives. Thank you.